My name is Martin Hill, and I'm chairman of the Health Board. Uh, this is just a short message today because I wanted to um, just acknowledge the pressures that everybody's working under. And I want to particularly reference today the hospital emergency departments across Lanarkshire. Um, on the Friday morning, I decided, although I hadn't intended to be, that wasn't one of my work days. I went over to University Hospital Hairmyres and I spoke with senior staff there, and we walked around the emergency department just to get a sense of how the department were working, the kind of pressures that people were under, and just what the situation was. I was met and accompanied on my walk round the department by three senior colleagues, Shirley Ann O'Hare, senior nurse for emergency medicine, Erin McEwen, the service manager for medicine and emergency medicine, and Dr. Farhat Mushtaq, consultant in emergency medicine. And as we walked around the department, there were a number of matters that became fairly evident. It was clear that the front door was exceptionally busy. And remember, this is mid morning on Friday morning. Um, there no longer seem to be the kind of regular quiet periods or seasonal variation that you might have expected at other times when staff get the opportunity just to take a breath and to catch up with themselves. The main waiting area there is limited. Clearly, the accommodation is being made best use of, although it hasn't been designed originally to deal with the volume of patients or the modern patient pathways that we now expect. But I was really impressed by the ingenuity and the way in which the staff adapt to make the best use of the accommodation that's there. Um, there were a couple of ambulances waiting to transfer the patients into the department, and but there are a number of beds in Hairmyres, in common with the other hospitals in Lanarkshire, where there are patients who may have completed their clinical episode but are unable to be moved either into their own home or into a care home simply because there are not the staff in the community and the social care staff available to provide the care necessary. So they remain in hospital as a place of safety. But that does mean that there are insufficient beds. And I know that additional beds are being put up in wards and departments around the hospital to make sure that there is as safe a situation as possible. I also noticed that there was a separate minor injury suite, which was very helpful. But it does mean that when that's staffed, those with only minor injuries can be in and out of the department more quickly. But it was also clear that for the people waiting, and a lot of them require more complex care and treatment, and that's been the pattern increasing, particularly since COVID. We also talked about other issues because although accommodation is a constraint in the way the department works, it struck me that at the end of the day, it's the pairs of hands and the skills and the way in which they work as a team that's important. And I saw some superb examples of team working, but at the end of the day, just weren't enough people to deal with the volume of patients and the complexity of patients coming through the front door. So that's an area which I know is being looked at. I know that having spoken since she returned from leave to Heather Knox, her chief executive, she was able to confirm that they're working through the staffing standards and looking at the requirements across a range of departments, including the emergency department. So there's work going on around that. But there were other issues about the way in which we are allocated training places for junior doctors to come and train in the hospital. And a comment was made that there are doctors there who would want to come, but we don't have the training places. So there are issues like that that we can take up. But one of the other concerns, of course, is that when the service is very busy and the waiting rooms are full, that people get fed up waiting, quite rightly. And after being clapped in and sitting in a waiting room for a number of hours, they leave. Now, that's a risk because we don't know what happens to these people. We don't know how urgently their care is required. So there's something there also that we need to follow up. There's no doubt that the pressures that everybody is under at the moment are exceptional, and we need to make sure that they're exceptional by over time working through and making sure we've got the right staff and the right accommodation. And I also know that the board are working hard on these. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think the issue of patients uh, staying in the hospital longer than they need to in the wards is also being addressed through colleagues in the health and social care partnerships. And there are some superb examples of projects going on now that should help to improve the capacity within the community to enable patients to be discharged from hospital far quicker than they are at the moment. So there are a number of things in train, and I just wanted to reassure people of that. But at the end of the day, my main purpose in speaking to you today is really just to express my admiration and thanks to all of the staff who are working so hard to provide as safe a service as we can, as high quality a service as we can to the people of Lanarkshire. So thank you very much. Goodbye.